Let me know which one you like best. This is what I was gonna pick.
Okay. Yeah.
Does this look like Sicily? No, it doesn't actually.
No, I actually, I think I like the other one better, right? Which one do you like better?
Well, I like they're all cool. The grass.
Oh,
is
wow.
cool.
Look, now you're on the moon. That's cool. That's like, what do you call it? I forget the name of it.
Aurora
Yeah,
Borealis.
Aurora,
Sicily?
yeah, right, exactly. Go ahead. Give us
Do I
another.
look? Do I need shades? Do I look tired? Do I look
No,
awake?
no, you look great. You look great. What about this one, right? Okay, Pam says this one.
You can change it throughout if you really
Yeah,
want
you can
to.
change it throughout, man. That's all.
All right, good. I'm gonna keep it interesting. Yeah, because I don't.
Okay.
That'll make it fun. Yeah.
Okay.
So, welcome to Earth.
Welcome to Earth. All right, you ready?
Yeah, can you hear me? Okay, we all.
I
good?
can hear you perfect. You look great. I love the shirt. And I want to welcome you to Sons of Sicily, my buddy, longtime friend, Phil Passantino. We've known each other about what, close to 10 years now, I think. And I was thinking that the first time I saw you perform was in Hoboken with the Zydeco Revelators. You warmed up for Anthony D'Amato, who I loved, and Peter Wolf, who I adored, Jay Giles. And you guys just killed it. You did a version of Black Dog, Zydeco version. It was just off the charts, man. It was really good. Yeah. So that's the first time I think I saw you perform.
Yeah, I remember meeting you that day, and
No kidding.
you were super cool, and there wasn't that many people in the seating section, but you were there. You were like totally cool. And then I remember you saw us at the Lincoln Inn
Right.
another time, you
Yeah.
and Pam, and then at some point I realized that you knew Michaela, and then I was playing Sicilian music with her. So it was just, I kept running into you in cool ways, and now here we are, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're involved in how many groups right now? I know the Colombian group, and what's their name?
So yeah, I have a group that I started in 2013. It's called Viva Vallenato. We do this really badass folk music of Colombia that I had
Awesome.
never heard of until I was about 30.
Right.
And, I used to live in Queens. I lived in Queens for about a year and a half around the time of 9/11.
Oh,
I used to go to the Queens Library, and I was really getting into world music, and they had like the best collection because like in Queens, it's like every country in the world that seems to be represented in Queens, like all the
right.
nationalities. And I got this CD out with some cumbia music on it. So that's the first time I remember hearing it. And then I guess I slowly fell in love with this raw accordion music from there over 10 years. And then I was like, I don't know, maybe I should try to learn the accordion. I didn't even think that would be possible. But
Is that that's when you started? Wow.
yeah, it started in 2012 when I turned 40. I guess it was my midlife crisis.
That's a good one to have. That's as good as any.
It was
If not
also
better.
2012. 2012 was the magical Mayan year. Something big had to happen, right?
Right.
So I started playing the accordion, and I actually was practicing like crazy during was it Hurricane Sandy, where the power went out in New Jersey for a couple weeks. That's when I was learning. That's what I was doing by candlelight. Was practicing accordion.
That's crazy.
Driving my lady blue crazy. Well, she was very patient.
And so how many, I know you play the guitar really well and the accordion. Do you play any other instruments?
Those are the main ones. I mean, I
Right.
can play some bass, which is really,
Right.
play bass guitar. I actually play drums. I can't believe, but I do play drum set. I played in
Okay.
rock bands over the years.
Right.
I play a little keyboard if I have to, but the
Right.
accordion and the guitar are the main ones here.
And so as far as your Sicilian background, how did you was your family very into being Sicilian? How did you find out where you were from? Chimenia, which was where your family.
Chimina, yeah.
Chimina, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's real interesting. Like other people like Michaela Mussolino, who's a phenomenal singer that I've been working with for a while now too.
With
it seemed
Rosa,
like
and that band is Rosa
Tatuata, yeah.
Tatuata, right? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's awesome playing with them. But like with her, she seems to have grown up in a real Italian centric world,
Right.
And she told me it was because she always, every few years, new arrivals of her family would come over from Italy. So she
Right.
had like a connection.
Constant flow. Right.
My family, we came over about 100 years ago. from Cimina, Sicily. My great grandpa Filippo Passantino, who played the guitar, and I actually have his guitar. It's
Wow.
over 100 years old. I should get that out.
Yeah, yeah,
I will
definitely. Yeah,
definitely
maybe.
get it out.
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, cool. Yeah. So, and go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so he played the guitar. He was a barber who played the guitar. Anyway, he came over here, and then you know, my grandma's side was from Calabria, from the mountains outside of Cosenza. And all the people that I'm descended from in the Italian side, they're all from towns that are at the very freaking top of a mountain, which I thought was so cool.
So
Like,
cool.
there's
Yeah.
3 different towns that are all the tops of mountains
Yeah.
that's my Italian side. But no one told me this stuff growing up. I just
Right.
I had to find it out myself. So and it wasn't until
Which
like
is
I was in
very
my
cool.
Yeah, I guess that's what you got to do. But it was not till I was in my 20s that I started like getting curious about my roots, my heritage.
Right.
And I had to ask them, and they were at first when I asked my dad, "Where are we from in Sicily?" And they were like, "Oh, Taormina." I was like, "Taormina? We're from like a resort town. Why did we leave then?" Amazing town.
Right.
And then I found out from a cousin, no, it's Cimina, and a cousin had actually visited there. So yeah, so we're from that town. But and then I actually reached out on the internet when I was thinking of going to Cimina for the first time around 2004. I Googled it, and
Right.
I found a website, and it was Cimina, communedecimina.it or something like that. And I was using like the Alta Vista, it was called the Babelfish, which was like the Google Translate of its
Okay.
day.
Yeah. Right. Babel.
So I'd
Okay.
write what I wanted to say and translate it to them. And they were talking to me in Italian, and then I was translating it, and we got a correspondence going. So I went over there and started to soak it up, and I went over there 3 times, and the last time I brought a guitar. Actually, I think the last 2 times I brought a guitar, and we just had these huge sing-alongs in this restaurant.
Oh, that's cool.
At the top of the mountain, the Ristorante San Vito.
Yeah.
They found out I was a Passantino, and in that area, Passantino, it's not like Smith, but it's really freaking common. In my town, there's 12 family trees of Passantinos that are not even
Wow.
related to each other, although they must have a common ancestor.
Right.
But it goes back, over 300 years. Like, they gave me my family tree, and the oldest name is like Salvatore Passantino from the 1700s. So
cool.
yeah, but anyway, so when I went to this restaurant in Cimina, and I said, "I'm Passantino, my antenati Veneto da Cimina, my ancestors come here." That was out of the Rick Steves Italian phrase book that I learned that phrase. And they're like, "Oh, your cousin Passantino's in this corner." Next thing I know, I'm meeting this other Passantino, and they're giving me shots of homemade limoncello.
Oh my
And I
goodness.
get my guitar out of the rent-a-car, and I don't even barely know. I'm just trying to go by ear, and they're all
Right.
drinking and singing all these amazing songs I never heard before.
That's
in my
great.
life. Yeah. So.
That is so cool. That's so. Do you know if a bunch of Passantinos settled in a certain area of the States when they first came?
That I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
Passantinos here, there's Passantinos in the Midwest. They seem to be all over the
All
place.
over now. Yeah. They may have, I find that a lot of times some villages, they were before they came, they had set up an area where they knew there was labor or there was family that were going to support them. And that's how, like, my family wound up in the Ironbound section in Newark. But yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, that was great. And it's cool that you actually took the extra effort to find out where your family is from. So many people just don't take that effort. They don't, put the effort in to figure out where their people originally came from.
Yeah, so with my family, because it was so long ago that they came over, and because I guess the pressures of those generations to become fully American and leave that language and stuff behind,
Yes.
so we lost it. We lost a
Right.
lot. So I mean,
Right.
part of just what I've been into the last bunch of years is just trying to recover it,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
guess I never will in some ways, but I'm having a good time trying,
Well, that's the most important thing. Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt.
learning some Sicilian. I mean, with Michaela and Charlie Rutan and Jeff Panettiere, who are in
JP,
this.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are great. Yeah, I love seeing you guys.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so with them, they're constantly turning me on to a new song. Seems like every week they're texting a new song that I never heard of before. So
And-
it's just continual learning process, exploration, and it's a lot of fun, to play that.
And you write a lot of your own stuff as well. A couple of your discs I've listened to are excellent. I really enjoy your music.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I've been doing original. I was doing original rock from like 1990 until like 2010 or so, and I still write songs and stuff. It just seems like I've got more traction with doing cultural music that other people wrote. Sicilian or like this Colombian music.
Right.
These songs are amazing. They're fun to dance to. They make people smile and be happy.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing.
We were going to see you a couple of times, and things came up along the way. I would love to see the Colombian band that we're excited to see. As a matter of fact, one time I think you were playing in front of a library or something a couple of years ago that we just never made it to for some reason.
Yeah, we got a bunch of those coming up. We're playing May 15th. There's a big festival called Dancing in the Streets in Orange, New Jersey.
Cool.
And they're actually trying to benefit the local businesses. So it's like a free festival outside, and we'll be outside Benji's Taqueria at 3:00. That's in West Orange.
Do you know the address of Benji's?
I can get it for you. But
Benji's, Benjis.
Yes, you could just Google that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
In West Orange. That's at 3:00, and we'll be at another place called La Rosa Mexicana on Essex Street at 5:00. Then on Sunday the 16th, we'll be at the Bernards High School in Bernardsville, New Jersey at 3:00. That's
very cool.
Show. And in Englewood Library, we'll be out on the front lawn Sunday, May 23rd, 5 p.m. Another free show. So yeah, a lot of people come to these, and you can just dance and be happy.
And it's nice. Things are starting to open up again. I know a lot of our artistic friends like yourself have been suffering. It's been a tough year to say the least. So now hopefully things start opening up and we can have a lot of fun again. Just of course be careful, but have fun and enjoy ourselves.
Here's to that. Here's to that,
no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, cheers. I wish I
want me to I don't know how much time, but if you give me a minute, I'll grab my great grandpa's guitar. I think that
I would love that. Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Maybe I should whistle while I'm waiting for you. This way, there's that silence on the air. Hello, everyone. Here he comes back in. He's landing from space.
Hold on.
Well, that's a cool shot. Actually, in the bottom of the guitar right now, we see Sicily. There's Italy with Sicily at the very base of the guitar, which is very cool. That's a really cool shot, man.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, now it's gone. Something happened where it went away.
Okay.
All right.
So this is a Gibson from 1915.
That is so cool.
And,
excellent.
So I don't know, that seems to be the theme of my life. Or maybe I guess I probably want it that way, but it's discovering hidden mysteries of, I don't know, like heritage and culture and stuff. So like,
so cool.
With this, like I didn't start playing guitar till I was 15. Before that, it's like no one ever like came out to like, that's the thing is in other cultures where there's musicians in a family, they roll it out quicker. There's a cool documentary, I think it's called Growing Up in Music, that you could see online, where they go to different countries like Mali and India and somewhere in South America, where they have the kids, they're born into a musical family. And so the footage is of them by age 2, they're already being formally taught the repertoire of their tribe or their family. Wow. So for me, that framework wasn't there. And yet because it was in our bones, it seemed to happen anyway. So by 2, my dad says I was singing Frank Sinatra, I've Got You Under My Skin at age 2.
No kidding. Wow.
So, and I didn't think that was really possible, but now my niece is 2 and she's singing songs from Frozen 2, and she doesn't know what the words are, but we put this song called Show Yourself. When you put it on YouTube, she goes, Show yourself.
That's so cool.
She'll do all the notes and she'll phonetically say the words, even though she has no clue. Then when the character starts marching through the ice forest or whatever,
right,
then my niece Annabelle will start marching around the room. Like
that's great.
So I was singing Sinatra because my dad was a Sinatra freak. And also he was playing me Beatles because whatever album he had that had Yellow Submarine on it,
Okay.
the LP,
Yeah.
I would always want to hear that. And we had to get through, it sounded, I don't know, I always thought it was Revolver, but I don't know if that's actually on that album.
I don't think it, I'm not sure. That's a good question.
But
That's
the
a
thing
good-
is, whatever LP my dad had, in order to get to Yellow Submarine on the album, which was maybe track 4 or 5 on the vinyl, we
Right.
had to get through these mysterious, borderline scary for a 2-year-old
Right.
mystical songs that the
Right.
Beatles psychedelic stuff. So that was poured into me at age 2 also. I had to patiently wait for Yellow
Well,
Submarine.
those are two great influences, Sinatra and the Beatles, man. That's awesome. Yeah, that's great
Yeah.
music right there.
Yeah, so I was way into music, and I remember, I don't know how, I mean, memories is so long ago at this point, but I remember at age 5 noting that I was making up songs in my head, like I was making up my own like soundtracks and stuff. So I guess I was writing some kinds of songs. I wish I had a recording of them when I was 5. And then I know like in grammar school, for a few years, I would always be humming to myself while I was doing my work in school. So
Right.
the other students would always complain, get Philip to stop humming. Like that was the complaint. So it was in my bones, but my family never said to me, hey, you're from a musical family. Your great grandpa was playing the guitar and he was a barber. And the tradition of Sicily was that the barbers in between clients would play the mandolin or the guitar.
I didn't know that. Okay.
This is stuff I learned from my friend Michaela Mussolino and
Wow.
Charlie and JP. They're telling me this so many years later, but no one ever said to me, you're from a lineage. Your family apparently has been playing music for maybe hundreds of years, maybe more. Then
Right.
Michaela, she goes to one of the times she went to Sicily and she told someone that that I was from Cimina. She's like, oh, the guy who plays guitar with me, he's from Cimina. And they said, oh, Cimina is known for producing musicians. Like
No kidding.
that didn't come, I didn't get that message till I was, 45. Or
That's so cool.
Isn't that
Yeah.
interesting? And
Yeah,
then
very.
when I went to Cimina, it was such a language barrier because in that part of Sicily, not many people knew English. And there was like 2 that did, and they were like my tour guides. But my own family, my distant cousins that I met there,
Mhm.
who I am related to, but haven't
Yes.
seen for 100 years, they were in a marching band, and they were like, through the broken translation, they were telling me, oh yeah, our marching band is going to play in Chicago next year. I remember them telling me that, and it was like 2006 or something. So I guess so. And I went to this awesome procession in the first weekend of May for the crucifix. And, they had awesome marching bands and all that stuff. Anyway, so no one ever told me this stuff. I had to find it out
You
myself.
had to find that, and that's great
Cool
that
that
you
way,
did.
I guess.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, it really is. It really is.
So with this, I know I'm being long-winded. I guess that's what interviews are for. but-
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I need
These
you
are
to be
good stories,
long.
though. Just they blow
Yeah.
my mind. So
Yeah,
anyway, I'm loving music. I'm a music nut. I'm from Weird Al at in 4th grade doing
he's
Beat It
great.
to Lionel Richie. Then I discovered Van Halen when I was 14, and my life changed because it was like playing the guitar like a shaman. Like he had
Yeah.
some magical power. I don't know. But along the way, I was singing. Like I remember in 4th grade, I went to Catholic school, and Mrs. Holliger was like, "Oh, you have a good voice. You should join the choir." I was like, "I have a good voice." No one ever like said anything like that. So I was singing in the choir. That was my singing of grammar school. And then, so what I'm trying to get to is there was one night I was hanging out at my grandparents' house, and my grandpa, Philip, who's the son of Filippo, he breaks out his guitar. I guess I don't remember the first time, but I just remember the first time I remember it, it was kind of a surprise. Like
Okay.
he ended up breaking out his guitar and busting out, which was this guitar from 1915.
And it was his father's.
But no one ever told me. It was his grandpa's guitar.
It was-
at that point.
yeah,
I was like 11, 10,
Right,
maybe
right.
12.
Okay.
He busts out his sheet music and he's singing songs from the 30s that I had never heard before, like in the 40s and 50s, like, ain't she nice?
Great
Won't you
stuff.
ask her
Yeah,
once
yeah,
or
yeah,
twice? Now I ask you very confidentially, ain't she nice? That type of
Right.
stuff. And I would sing along. As I got to know, I would go every time I would visit. And I remember one night, we were there till almost midnight. It was just me and him. He's in his like boxers, I think, because I have a photo of it actually, so I can get you the photo next. Maybe I could reach it on my wall.
Cool.
And I'm in my pajamas. I guess I was sleeping over, and we're just singing. It wasn't planned. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go jam with Grandpa tonight until midnight. Like it just happened.
Just happened.
this was years before I played the guitar or even thought I would play the guitar, but it was this guitar. So then years later, I figure I want to play the guitar. And I got into Van Halen, and I got really into it. I would just practice all the time. And it's just cool. But it wasn't until many years later when I inherited this guitar, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this was your great grandpa's guitar." And I was like, "What? He played guitar? You guys didn't tell me, you know?"
Yeah.
And like I'm looking online. Oh, my dad's always telling me, "Oh, he bought this the year your grandpa was born to celebrate it." It's something like that. I don't know if I'm getting exactly right.
Sure.
But when I dated it, it was 1914 or 1915. But dude, this guitar is in incredible shape for being over 100 years old. That's why when I found that out, I was in disbelief. It doesn't look like it was played that much at all. And the bridge was rotted, so I replaced that at some point. Other than that, it sounds great, but it was like a secret heritage that no one told me. I had to ask questions in order to find out. Like,
awesome. Yeah. Amazing.
So I could tell you another story, which is my Calabria roots, just because, so like I said, growing up Italian, I knew I was half Italian, but yeah, when we go to like Thanksgiving or certain holidays, the food my grandma made was not like olive tree Italian. It was like weird, strange Italian. I would call it strange, like, but it was fine. It was all I knew. But as I grew up, got a little older, and I was just noticing like, oh, we're like, something's off about us, but I didn't even consciously notice it, I don't think. And so I went to Calabria in 2004, and it was around Halloween, and just by luck, it was the Chestnut Festival. They have a chestnut harvest in this town called Fagnano Castello that my great grandpa.
That must have been real fun.
Yeah, so I just stumbled upon it.
Right.
But and I was like really, I was like wanted to find my ancestors stuff. So I was telling the guy who owned the Albergo, is that how you say, like the motel or whatever?
Albergo.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was a place I somehow found online. It was before Airbnb, but in 2004, I did find a place to stay in this little mountain town. And so he had this guy, I don't remember his name. Only one in town that seemed to. And he was like, "Okay, tonight I'm going to make for you the very typical dishes of your ancestors. The very typical." It was like a dream come true. So he brings out the first dish, and it was like a really good pasta, but it didn't look familiar. But then the second dish he brings out is my grandma's, and I've only had this at my Calabrian grandma's house my whole life, but I've had it a million times. Roasted sausage and roasted potatoes. Well, I don't know if you eat this a lot, but he says this is the very typical dish of your town. And I was like, oh, we're really from here. I'm really Calabrese, because I've been eating Calabrese food my whole life, and it just struck me as being the strange cousin of Italian. But
yes,
this is what they're eating. Then he brings out a dish of eggplant. And it's not eggplant that you find at any buffet or even in most people's homes. It's the eggplant the way my grandma makes it, as if it's an apple pie, but instead of apples, it's eggplant. It's a certain way they
just
make
layered eggplant.
It's not layered. It's like puree. I don't know. It's like a pie. It's like pumpkin pie, but made.
No kidding. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had that.
So that was another night where I was like, oh my God, I'm really Calabrese. And he's like, oh yeah. You know what? There's a chestnut festival happening tonight. You should go into town. And then we went and we ate chestnuts, which my family's always been crazy about chestnuts. And I called my grandma that night, who was still alive. And I was like tearing up. I was like, called her from a payphone. Payphone still existed in 2004. I called on a payphone from Calabria in the middle of the town square, where they were giving out truckloads of free roasted hot chestnuts off of a burning fire. And I said, Grandma, I'm in your town. And I don't think I couldn't convey to her. I was like, I'm in your town. They cook your food here in the middle of nowhere.
That's great.
On the other side of the planet, they're serving me your exact food.
That's so great.
Like, blew my mind, man.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I ever saw like a traditional Italian folk roots revival type band, because at this festival, they had this freaking amazing band playing traditional Calabrese songs, and they were dressed up in the folk clothing. They were doing the dances. And
that's so impressive. I've seen
like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just saying that seeing that is just really impressive when you're in a town. And and they come out with the traditional folk clothing, and the music is just amazing. Continue.
Yeah, they were playing. They kept playing this song. I don't know the word. And like, there was this guy chasing this woman around, and she was like, she had some kind of attitude. I guess that's in the lyrics, but
Yeah.
it's memories I'll never forget. And then the next morning, we went to where my cousin's house was. We found it actually, and they had moved to Milan, I guess. You know, again, internet was still new then, language barrier, but the next door neighbors were really cool to me, and they gave me figs. So it was like figs from my family's backyard. They're dried figs. They gave me fresh figs. They gave me a bag of dried figs. Then I went up the street. Someone gave me some wine from the barrel with some splinters still in it. This was Halloween morning of like 2004. It was a very magical morning in my life.
It sounds magical. It sounds amazing. Yeah. When you get to the town where people know you are family, they can go really overboard with loving you and presenting all the love that they have in their community. It's amazing. It's amazing. You know, when you get there and you actually share a last name with people or some heritage, they go the extra mile. It's really a cool experience that not everyone is able to get.
Yeah. Powerful. So that was another example though of like having to find out something instead of, it was never given.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think I probably prefer it that way. It's always been an adventure, and I still don't know what else I'm going to find. So in my Irish, I have some other. So I had that Italian musical heritage that I just got lucky to.
Yeah.
I guess I my genes or my ears, whatever it is, it's been honed over generations. I'm just like the recipient, and I'm trying to run with it as much as I can, you know. Once I found out I had it, but then on my Irish side, my Irish grandma's first cousin is Ed Sullivan, the Ed Sullivan. So he's
Ed Sullivan from
Ed Sullivan, dude.
No kidding. Wow, we watch him literally every night on Decades TV. It's fun watching all those old shows. That's so crazy. And so Ed Sullivan was your, say it again, how were you related to him?
I don't know the removed and this and that. He's my grandma's first cousin.
That is unbelievable. And what a show he had. That was just like the whole world would watch that on Sunday nights. I mean, not the whole world, but the US. I mean, it was just, things like that'll never happen again, where, you know, everyone just sits to watch one program. Now there's so many options and so much to see and do in the world that I don't think we'll ever see a time like that again, where basically the whole country would shut down on Sunday night to watch, you know, one guy who brought, have you watched the Ed Sullivan Show lately?
I saw a rerun like a week or two ago, actually, and I want to see it more often.
Well, it's on, we have this antenna TV where you watch, you put the antenna in the window and you get every channel, but it's all commercial television. It's like, it's free, but it's like 50 channels. And so Ed Sullivan's on every night from 7 to 8. There's 2 half-hour episodes. And the thing that I find like absolutely amazing is he would go out and find entertainers from all over the world, right? And they would just do like, okay, you'd have like Tom Jones singing like Delilah. And then 2 seconds later, you'd have a guy who was from like Argentina spinning plates and doing jumping jacks and flips. And then 5 minutes after that, they'd have like some type of like dog show. And then you'd have another famous artist, you know, Janis Joplin was on last night. But it was just an amazing time in our history, you know. And meanwhile, you know, Vietnam was going on during all of that as well. You know, it was just crazy. And they just never brought it up. It was just for pure entertainment. It was just entertainers. And some of them were just unknown. You know, you Google, a lot of them you could still Google and see, but it really is a fascinating show. I'm surprised you brought that up. It's so cool. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw one episode the other night where they had these acrobats who were like jumping onto chairs. These two brothers who were like jumping onto
yeah,
chairs.
right,
And
right. Yeah, they just do crazy things. I'll go to Pam. Look at these two now. You know, like, they're just doing amazing things.
it's
Yeah,
it's interesting because when you look at history, there's some people who might have been a huge in a certain year, and we
yeah,
don't even know who they are anymore
right,
because no,
right,
in that time they're huge. But there's some people that were huge in a year, and then we still know who they are. It's just
right.
interesting.
Yeah, it really is very interesting. There was a guy on the other day. Now I can't think of his name, but he did this act where um it just was a fascinating act. And now I can't remember anything about the act, but all I know is when I Googled him, he had been on all these TV shows. To your point, he was famous for like a couple of years, and then no one ever heard of him again. And now I can't even think of the guy's name. So he still stays oblivious.
Yeah, I know. Poor guy.
But yeah. So tell me, how did you wind up in becoming a minister? Oh, there you go. Now you left it. You left the you left orbit and you're on the beach. How did you become a minister?
Oh wow. So that's another interesting story.
Yeah.
So when I was in fourth grade, my parents put me in Catholic school in Wayne, Immaculate Heart of Mary School in Wayne, New Jersey.
Okay.
And in the beginning, I don't know, I just took to something about it. There was it was the first time I was ever I had been to CCD
Right.
class, but religion class, I think what was coolest about it to me was that we were attached to a church. The school was
Right.
attached to a church, so we'd be going over there, right? Like in religion class, we might pop on over to the church, and the church had this comforting vibe,
Right.
something about it. And so I guess it led me to that spot within myself, that's that spiritual quiet place,
Mm.
I guess, and I dug it, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really know how else to describe it. I know I was praying and stuff, and then we had an awesome library too. The school library had all these books about the lives of the saints that were written for kids.
Right.
And they were like the coolest stories, and I don't know. I guess maybe we got assigned a book at one point, but at some point, me and like a couple of friends got turned on to this, and it's like we were competing with each other who could read the most Lives of the Saints books. Or we like, oh,
That's crazy.
and I don't know, but the thing was, because I try to like figure out what was going through my mind at age 9 and 10 and 11, but they were just kind of cool stories. But also, I dug the morals of. I don't know why I dug something about the whole picture. Then I remember another day, I was like 10, and we popped over for religion class to the vestibule of the church. And they had this Our Lady of Guadalupe, which is I think still there. It's like a statue or
Okay.
or something there that I always kind of dug, and that was the place where you prayed to Our Lady. And our teacher was like, yeah, and she still appears at certain places around the world, the apparitions. I was like, wait, what? Wait, Mary comes to visit? What's going on here? So I asked my teacher, and he's like, oh, I'll give you this book to read. And it was like over my age level. I was really into it. And then like it got, but like I'm like on a certain long car ride with my parents, I would get into one chapter and I'd be bored in the beginning, but then next thing I know, there's like she's appearing to some kids in Lourdes, France, or wherever it is, Fatima, and I'm reading and the stories are like mind blowing, really.
Yeah,
And like I was a total believer at that point,
right,
that this is true, this definitely must have happened and stuff. So that was just a part of it all. So then another thing was my mom got sick. She got like a tumor in her leg. So when I was like 11, it was an intense time. And so I would go to church. They had morning church, at 8 a.m. or whatever for like local people to go to. And it was right before school would start. So I don't know. I was really devout at that young age of like 11. And once I got off the bus, I would go into church and I would say some prayers for my mom. I would say a rosary for my mom. And I was like into it. I don't know. I just got the connection, man. God was like,
you bring it with you everywhere you go. You really do. I mean, I just love your presence. I love everything about you. You're a really beautiful person. And I just want to tell a quick story about when I was losing my mom, we called and we had a Catholic priest come, and we weren't sure when. but it was close. And I called you and I said, hey, Phil, could you just come over and say a couple of words? You know, and you came and you brought your accordion, which we weren't expecting. And you started singing Italian songs to her. And she was smiling, man. You know, she was smiling. And then, you know, that night she she left. But you brought her there. You definitely sent her there with what you brought to our home. It was just, I have a video of it somewhere. It's just a little tough to watch sometimes. I'm even choking up now thinking about it. But
yeah,
you know, it was just, you're awesome, man. You know, you're just a really beautiful person, honestly. And I love having you as a friend.
Thank you, man. I mean, I'm glad to tune into it sometimes. I'm not perfect, man, but
No, none of us are. None of us are.
Yeah. But yeah, music is like the best praying.
No doubt.
So I
Well,
guess
what
that's what I thought.
what denomination are you actually practicing right now?
So, I mean, I think I would consider myself Unitarian Universalist. That's what
Right.
I'm at home. And that's such a weird word, and I don't think a lot of people know what that is. But all it is basically, I don't have any answers.
Yeah, that's
But I know what I believe,
right.
and we all have our right to our own search for the truth. And you
Yes,
can
yeah,
see from this interview that I've been searching. I'm still freaking searching, but
yeah, no,
I'm constantly searching, and the searching is good. I think we should
yeah,
all
yeah, no
search.
doubt. Yeah,
So
you're going from like space to the ocean. You're going all over the place.
but that's all that Unitarian Universalism is. It's that like you can believe what you want. I'll believe what I want, as long as we're like trying to do good things, be good
Yeah.
people, care about the planet, care about other people, care about social justice and stuff like that. And at first, when I first encountered Unitarian Universalism around 1994, it just bored me to tears, and I didn't get. It took many years for me to get it, but now it's where I feel most at home. But you know, I was raised Catholic, so I was having these early religious experiences. Then, so anyway, long story short, by age like 12, I had made a decision. I wanted to be a priest. Like that was
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah.
Wow.
So, and I also, you know, loved girls and wanted to be an astronaut, and I wanted to be a singer in rock and music. So I'm a kid, you know, but priest was on the menu. It was there. I remember when I was 13 or 12, I went out to Texas, to Dallas, Texas. One of my cousins lived out there, and I went with my aunt, and we had like a little vacation around Easter time. And I remember him trying to talk me out of wanting to be a priest. So
Wow.
because like I think you're too young to have made this decision and blah blah blah. It wasn't a really intense conversation. I just remember him bringing it up. So
Right.
it was out there.
Right.
I also got really into like around age 12, some woman came to our school and she was like, you wouldn't believe what's been going on in Medjugorje and Yugoslavia. Our Lady is appearing there every morning. And I just totally was like, amen. This is the truth. And so I was praying all these Medjugorje prayers, and I was a little shy. So I would hide behind the recliner in my house and be praying. And then my mom would see me and I'd be like, they're going to think I'm a freak. But like, I was
oh my goodness.
it, man.
Yeah, that's great.
I was wearing a scapular. And
wait, what's a scapular?
It's like this thing. It's like a necklace you wear that's made of cloth, and if you die with it on, you go to heaven or whatever.
Directly. Yeah. Right. Okay.
It's old school, and I was wearing it, and I even tried wearing it recently again, just for old time's sake. I don't know. It's cool. It's an amulet in a way. You know, that's very old tradition of the earth of cultures in general.
Okay.
So, anyway, I was into it. You know.
Yeah.
So then when I was 13, my dad had a really cool friend named Carl, who was a Zen Buddhist. And when my mom was sick and in the hospital with that illness, sometimes he would babysit us, you know. And I remember being at the park playing Frisbee or whatever, and we would talk about philosophy and stuff. So when he decided to get married and it was going to be a Zen wedding, he invited me and I went with my parents. So that was another big moment for me because they were banging a gong and they handed out these purple, the purple dittos they used to have back in the day. I forget.
Yeah.
And it was all phonetic Japanese, and we were like, "Do show me," like, and the bald monks were banging a gong.
Oh, so cool!
I don't know what just happened, but I need to learn about this.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So I went to the Preakness Library in Wayne, and I got on all these books about religions of the world. And up to that moment, I don't think I realized there were other religions except Catholic and Jewish, you know,
Right.
to be truthful. So that was the beginning of me starting to just love finding spiritual wisdom wherever I found it. And then later on in college, even though I was majoring in music, for fun, I was reading Eastern spirituality. I was reading the I Ching, the Tao Te Ching. I was reading Native American spirituality. You know, spirituality has just been like my favorite topic, and world cultures seem to come a little later, and music.
Right.
Those are like my
Right.
top three. You know?
Right.
So when I know it's a long story, but like in
No,
my
it's I'm really enjoying it, man. It's awesome. Yeah, continue. I'm sorry.
cool. So when in my mid-20s, I came back to New Jersey from college. I went to college in upstate New York, and I went to St. Mary's Church in Pompton Lakes, which is one of our churches we went to as a kid. And I was like, I remember I went to the bathroom, and downstairs there's like another all-purpose room, and there's like an altar there because they can have overflow crowds there. It's like its own church. But
Okay.
it was just me in the room after I came out of the bathroom. And I could just feel that vibe of always loving churches and that quiet. And I was like, oh my God, I still feel this calling to be a priest, except now I'm like 25, 26. And I don't know where I'm going to fit in, because I don't fit into the Catholic world, because I found a lot of truth outside of that. I don't think my kind has been invented yet, my kind of priest. So, and then I started me searching, and then I met this guy named Lewis at a pagan drum circle in like 1996, and
That's awesome. That's so cool.
I got involved with like Wicca for a little while, and
Right.
more for just the ancientness of the ceremonies. That's what
Right.
that's what I still dig, is ceremonies.
Yeah.
My website is amazingceremonies.com. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Right.
I was into the Wicca thing for like from like 1994 to like 2000, like 6 years. But I always felt weird about it, because I wasn't into, like, you would meet weird people who were like, wanted to like, oh, I'm casting these spells. Like that was never, I just liked the ancient ceremony of it. It seemed like there was more to it, of the seasons, of the peasant life, of the old traditions, the same stuff that draws me to Italy and this old music. I was finding it through that, because if you get into Wicca, it's based on this old Irish and British celebration of the seasons, whether it's Halloween or
Right.
midwinter, Candlemas, Easter, Beltane, the first day of May, you know, summer
Right.
solstice, winter solstice. That's what I was really intrigued by, and I'm still intrigued by that, because
Sure.
that's what our ancestors, they were doing some interesting stuff at those times.
Yeah.
What they were doing is open to debate, and Wicca had this kind of weird take on it. So it served me for a little while, but I didn't stay there, you know.
Right.
But anyway, so I was into that. That's where I met this guy, and he ended up becoming an interfaith minister. He went to a seminary called the New Seminary in New York City, where he studied all the religions of the world, and they taught him how to design ceremonies for people. So I ended up studying with him. I got ordained, and then he took me to like tons of weddings of his, and he completely trained me in how to design ceremonies. So that was 2004.
And that's another thing you do now. That's great.
That was what made me a minister. I finally
Right.
became a minister in
Right.
2004, and I've never had my own church, but
Right.
I've visited different churches. I've spoken at like
You bring your church with you wherever you go. You were you came from my Aunt Maria's wake, and you did a beautiful service. And I remember afterwards, my sons and I, we're all spiritual, but we're not really churchgoers. But my sons came up to me and go, "Man, Phil's great. That was just a great, beautiful ceremony. You made everyone feel really relaxed and comfortable. And you just bring God and love with you wherever you go, you know." And I really appreciate you for all of that.
Well, thanks, man. I hope I can, man. I mean, I don't. I'm glad when it happens, when it shows up like that. I don't feel like it's really me doing it. And
Yeah, right.
like, in fact, after years of, because that was 2004, so I've been doing a lot of weddings and funerals and baptisms since then. And my latest approach is basically I try to forget I'm a minister as much as possible. And then when I show up to do it, there's maybe some magic there, and I could tune in, because I don't want to get caught up in I don't know, there's a whole trip mental trip to being a minister, you know,
Yeah.
because people put you on a pedestal. They think you're an angel and this and that. And I'm not even saying you. I'm just saying there's a trip that goes with it. I don't want that trip.
Okay.
In fact, when I was a kid, another memory I have when I was around 13 was I went to my friend's church, and the priest came out and he was smoking a cigarette, and he was like the coolest priest we ever had. And I remember noticing, and my friend was like, he's the coolest. And so then I just make a mental note, like if I ever go down this path, I want to be the coolest, as far as not trying, just like laid back, not on some trip of like I'm the best. Just like I just want to be normal. Like I want to be
and
the
you're
normal
doing that.
dude. And then maybe I get lucky and I can tap into some God might show up at the ceremony. We're always trying for God to show up at the ceremony, but I'm not going to pretend like I could do it every time. I don't know. This is like, you know, like psychics and stuff, which I don't know if I believe in psychics, but sometimes I think some people maybe do have a psychic gift, but then like if they decide to go into business and do all these mass readings, maybe the gift doesn't show up every time, and then they got to start ad-libbing and maybe even lying. But maybe don't abuse the gift. Just like the gift is there, and then don't like KRS-One, one of my favorite rappers. He was like, hip hop, you know, is something sacred. You know, you make money. There's some rap where he's like, make money doing something else, and then hip hop, you won't abuse it. You know, you do it for the love. Don't do it for the money. So anyway, money's involved, but I mean, I'm
yeah. No, I get it.
Keep it real, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. I actually met KRS.
The music is the best prayer, because I used to go.
No doubt.
I spoke at a lot of different Unitarian churches. In fact, I would try to travel. So I spoke at one in Louisiana 3 times. I spoke at one in Ireland once. I spoke at one in LA once. And that was really cool. But once I started playing the accordion, that's kind of tapered off, because I mean, this is my sermon. My sermon is making you dance and making you happy through music. I don't know if my words can really match that. So that's how I preach now, you know?
Yeah. And it's a beautiful method in theory, really is. On a side note, that KRS, I don't know his music at all, but I met him once. He was he came to the city in Newark and shook my hand.
What?
Yeah.
Tell me the story.
Yeah, well, it was back when Booker first got into office, and everyone was coming in to see Booker. Brad Pitt, you know, stopped by, and Cory Booker, that is. And KRS-One came to Cory's office, and I happened to be upstairs doing something. I didn't work for Cory. I worked in the building department, but he came in and there was just this, you know, 50 people were following him because they were so excited to see him. I had never heard of him. I didn't know who he was. Seemed like a nice guy. You know, it's just funny you brought up his name. It's probably the second time I ever heard of him was just now, other than that day. But
he's great. He made a
big
impact.
I'll have to listen to him. I'll definitely give it a shot. Yeah,
I worked with him once too, because I used to work I worked in hip hop recording studios in Manhattan in like the late 90s, and I was like an assistant engineer, and I got to work with him a bunch of times, and it was like a dream come true. And I got to ask him. I was a super fan, and I got to like ask him questions. That's a whole nother thing. I mean, I got a lot of stories about philosophical conversations.
That's so cool, man.
It was a trip. It was a trip, man. I was at a rough place in my life, and he was giving me all this advice, and we were sharing the peace pipe, and
that's great.
That out or whatever. I'm just keeping it real, man. Well, I can say that because you're going to edit it. So I mean,
yeah, definitely.
Hip hop pot goes with hip hop and goes with making hip hop. So one time I was trying to stay away from the stuff, like, because I had already done it so much. But so I remember one day he was going in the studio, and he was like going to go in the back room and smoke. He was like, "You want to smoke with me?" I was like, "No, thanks." So I said no, you know. Then I talked to my friend who had turned me on to KRS years ago, and he was like, "KRS-One asked you to smoke a joint, and you said no. What is wrong with you?
What's the matter with you?"
So the next time, it was like a week or two later, and I got assigned to the same studio again, and he's going to smoke, and he's like, "Oh, can I?" I was like, "Can I smoke?" He's like, "You want to smoke this?" I was like, "Yeah." I just basically because my friend told me I should. So So I get in high with him, and he opened the window. We're in New York City, so you open a window, and there's a brick wall of the next building right there. There's some
Yeah.
air.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
remember that, and then I'm like, he's like, so you summon. He's very metaphysical. So when we're high, he's like, so Philip, you summoned me here. So what do you? Why did you summon me into your life? You brought me into your life. You manifested me here. He was talking about this stuff like before The Secret. That's what he would rap about, is manifesting stuff. So I was like, I don't know, man. And I was just telling him some stuff I was going through, and he's like, it's like you got your hand on this chair, and it was like a studio chair, but you're trying to go out the window, but you can't go out the window if you're holding on to the chair. You gotta risk it all. He was just telling me all this deep stuff, and anyway, so actually I didn't know him that long, and then a few years later, I ended up starting a rap group with my brother, which we had
no
a rap
kidding.
group, and we were rapping and doing. Before I was a minister, we were rapping. I was the Jaguar MC. I was trying to be a shaman who rapped, so I was definitely inspired by KRS. I was trying to dress like
You're something else, man. I love you.
Dude,
You're the best. Go ahead.
We would be in Oakland, New Jersey, very hick town
Yeah.
in those days. We were at this place called Hansel's Bar and Grill. They booked us to play every Thursday for 6 months, and it was in 2001. It was right before 9/11, actually. It was like May to August we played, and or March to August. And I would dress up like a medicine man and put on makeup in the bathroom. I was trying to look like these Mayan paintings, and I would come out with a staff.
Oh, that's so great.
I would rap these heavy spiritual lyrics to people who were trying to get drunk in this hick dive bar. And my brother was being really theatrical. He was like Andrew Dice Clay meets Chuck Davis, my brother. I gotta give you a CD. I think you would like.
I would love to see it. I gotta see it.
We were nuts, man. So, and then because I was into the spiritual side of it, so I was reading about all these indigenous ceremonies and stuff of different peoples. So I'd be outside, I'd be outside by the Pompton River.
Right.
Like one of the places we played called Riddles. Right in the back of the place is the Pompton River flowing. I would go out there, get zooted a little bit, and I would make an offering to the water spirits and say some prayers to God and to the Indian spirits. I was like, Indian spirits of this town, help us to kick ass and make some magic tonight. Like I was still really into it in a whole other way.
Right.
And then we would go rap like for our lives. Like I'd be like up there like casting spells and shit. It was crazy, man. And I'm glad we did it. And then like,
how was the response from the audience? Was the audience like receptive to it?
They liked us a lot. Like we was all these young kids. Like my brother was, I was 29. My brother was 24, and they were all like 20 something.
Right. That's the brother. That's the brother I met, right?
Elliot. Yeah.
Elliot. Right. Elliot. Right. Okay. I couldn't think of his name.
Guy though. He's a talented. He's one of the best freestylers of all time.
No kidding. Wow.
He can make stuff up on the spot that he never thought of before. It will just come out.
No kidding. Wow. That's a talent. That's a real gift. Yeah. I in my head, I try to do it sometimes, and it's like fart, mart, start. It just makes no sense. Anyway.
He tunes in, man. He tunes in. So then we had this DJ Buttons, my friend Tom, who was not a normal DJ because he couldn't do any, he didn't have any scratching skills or anything. So he had all these samples, and they were all like mystical samples that we get from weird records. And it would be like the perfect, I don't know, it was magic, man. Like that chemistry we had, like that was God.
And you have tapes of it?
Yeah, I do.
I'd love to see it, man. I got to check this out.
I don't have many video, but I have tons of audio in the live concerts. It was magical shit, man. It really was.
Awesome.
Glad we did it. But the point I'm saying that is because it's one of the places was right where I was making all the offerings was right across the street from St. Mary's, where I had the realization that I wanted to be a priest. Okay.
Wow.
And then many years later, 10 years later, because I think when you make offerings, whatever they are in your life, like I think people always think prayers are going to be answered right away. If prayers get answered, it's slow motion, man. Prayers get answered as fast as a forest grows, like as fast as a tree grows. It's slow. You got to keep the intention going, keep the prayer headed in that direction. And usually you don't even know what's best for yourself. So I always, when I pray, I'm like, just thank you, God. Everything's working out for my highest good, my highest well-being. That's something I learned from Louise Hay, who is a great writer. one of her affirmations. But anyway, we were making these offerings in the early 2000s and doing all these mystical stuff on a stage, you know. And I feel like we sent some good energy up. And 10 years later, St. Mary's, all the Mexican immigrants of that town, they have their own church masses in Spanish in St. Mary's. And they've invited my cumbia band to play.
Oh, wow. I see. Wow. Yeah.
So I feel like we sent it out.
Yeah.
Like, I like to think that we were sending stuff out, and a decade later, that energy was manifesting and inviting us, like the town energy was inviting us back and taking care of us. They were paying us to play and make people happy. Because all that stuff happened in Pompton Lakes, and it's all right near the river. And I mean, when you look at indigenous cultures, you know, they look at rivers as a very sacred place, man. And, you know, all the great music, like, you know, Muscle Shoals, if you ever saw that documentary, that's right next to a river, you know, so water is a powerful force. No, you know, that's a spirituality I'm down with at this point. I like that mysterious. I don't 100% know, but I like to think that rituals and prayers and intentions, they have consequences, and they can come back and surprise you in a good way. I
like to agree with you. I definitely would like to agree with you on that. Definitely. Why don't you play? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, just saying, like, when I first went to Sicily in 2004, and I'm in my rent-a-car, and on the Autostrada, I'm stopping at every gas station and buying every cassette I could find of traditional Sicilian folk music and Calabrese folk music, and I'm putting it because the rent-a-car still had a tape player. So my whole trip, because I would try to tune in on Sicilian radio stations or whatever, and it was all just top 40 and nonsense. Right. So I'd have to put in my cassettes of the folk music I just bought at the gas station, and that was my soundtrack. And I was like, man, I freaking love this music. I was just putting it out there. I started playing nursing homes around that time also, and I would introduce some Italian songs. And my friend, he met me at the Columbus Day Parade in New York years later. And I remember there was some like folk musicians who went walking by, and one of them had a tambourine. It could have been Michaela, I don't know. But someone had a tambourine and one had like a mandolin, and they were walking by. They weren't in the parade. And I was with my friend, but we had plans. We had like a special bleacher reserved because his dad was from the Sons of Columbus or whatever that society is.
Yes.
But I was like thinking in my mind, Chris, why aren't we running after this? I just want to follow these musicians who just ran by. This is it right here. And I just let him go off into the ether. But the thing is, putting that out in Italy, and always like every October, I would always feel that vibe of feeling more in touch with my heritage. And I would always be cranking my Sicilian music in the car that I bought there. It took more than 10 years. And suddenly I meet Michele Mussolino and Domenico Porco, who was the guy who introduced me. He was the accordion player. And then I make the whole crew. Like the stuff, it just takes a while to happen. Just because you hear it and fall in love with it today, I'm not going to meet Michaela tomorrow. I'm going to meet her in 10 years. It is what it is. But the magic, the prayers are working, you know? Look at it. I mean, we've played all over the world. We played the Montana Folk Festival in 2019 at the top of a mountain in Butte, Montana. And people were loving it.
You guys are great.
We play a festival at the top of a mountain in West Virginia every August. I mean, it's amazing, man. It
really is. It really is. And I believe,
I don't know how it happened, but
I believe it happened the way you're saying it. I mean, you threw it out there, you kept putting it out there, and it happened.
With love, with care. Like
I believe that without a question of a doubt.
You gotta love it. Like you gotta love
it. Hey, anyway, Pam. I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off before. You just inspire me, man. Because you're awesome too.
Yeah, no, thank you.
What did you want to hear? Did you want to hear something?
No, you choose.
I don't know.
Maybe do you want to do your song about Chimina? What is wrong with me? Oh, by the way, I was reading about Chimena today, and they filmed the movie The Leopard there with Burt Lancaster. It's a famous film.
I never saw it, but I always wanted to. Yeah, they
Yeah,
told me.
yeah, it's a great flick. Yeah, I didn't realize it was filmed there. Yeah. Your population's a little smaller than Pittalia. You guys have about 2,000. We're closer to 3. Couple of other interesting facts, but yeah, we're definitely going to visit. It's in the province of Palermo, like we are.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's awesome. And the logo, the flag of Chimena is there's a breast on the flag. Do you have that on your flag? We got a boob. We got a boob on our flag. I'm not kidding.
I believe
They said
you.
it represents abundance. Maybe it just represents
That's great. That's so
breast,
great.
all of the magic
don't-
of a breast, but it's on the flag.
I don't think I know what the flag of Pittalia is, actually. I'd have to research that. I don't know what it looks like.
And we've got this I wish I could take this. I wish I could. I'll have to send you a picture because I can't pick up the whole computer. But right on my wall, they have this thing that's been going on for almost 400 years, this procession that I went to in the first weekend of May in Chimena. It's a black Jesus on a crucifix.
Oh, okay.
They've had for almost 400 years, and no one knows why it's black.
Mm.
Even apparently, the story goes that they tried to paint over it, and the paint came off. So it's just like another one of those mysteries. My
Yeah,
town-
there's several.
it's not the Black Madonna. My town is the town of the
Right.
Black Jesus.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, Pam's town of Patti. There's the Black Madonna of Trindade, I think it is pronounced.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Right. What is it, Pam? Come here. Pam's here, and she's been wanting to say hello to you.
Damn, I haven't
Pam,
seen you in so
Pam,
long.
put the headphones on.
Hi, Phil.
Ah, you look great. How's everything?
Everything's good. You look great too. I can't
look
hear
good.
anything you're doing. I hear Charlie, but I can't hear your music. So I'm going to listen to everything when we, later when we check it out.
Yeah. Well, you look healthy. You look like well. So I'm glad
Thank
you're
you.
doing good.
Thank you. Tell Blue I said hi, okay?
I will. She's in the other room somewhere.
It's all right. I'll see you soon.
Yeah. Let's all hang.
Definitely. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, my son talked me into getting this microphone and the headphones because he said, like you'll get a better sound. So Pam can't hear anything. She's been in the room, but she can't hear you. She can hear me, but she can't hear anything you're saying.
I got you. Cool, man.
What do you feel like playing? Is there anything in particular you want to?
Not really.
No?
I'm enjoying talking more.
Yeah, let's do that then. Now, you don't have to play a song.
Well, I just want to maybe say one more thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So I fell in love with this accordion music of Colombia. Like I said, started in like 2000 or so. To be honest, I heard the cumbia around that time, but what really piqued my interest was in the Wayne Public Library. There was a DVD or a VHS even. It was called Shotguns and Accordions. I love documentaries. I know you.
I do too. I love documentaries.
I have this one. You can even borrow it if you want. This
Sure.
is what gave me the book. I was just skimming by and the title caught my eye. It's called Shotguns and Accordions,
Yeah.
Music from the Marijuana Producing Regions of Colombia.
Wow.
So I was like,
Yeah.
I need to get this out.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So as soon as I put that on, I heard this type of accordion playing that I never heard in my whole life, because up to then, my experience of accordion was either Italian romantic accordion,
Lawrence Welk.
polka, whatever.
Right.
This was like a really raw screaming accordion with like awesome like tropical rhythms on hand drums, and it sounded like it was like raw drinking music with
Wow.
accordions.
Wow.
So it made an impression on me. And in fact,
Sure,
with my rap group, right away, some of the samples from that year when we played samples between the songs, like I said,
Sure.
were quotes from this movie. So I was
Okay.
into it. I had no clue I would ever play the accordion. I just didn't think that was an option. So I didn't, and not until 2012 did that dawn on me. I don't know, maybe I'll try to play the accordion. I don't know if that's possible. Anyway, so when I started playing the accordion, and then a year later, I started trying to put together a group just to play this music for my enjoyment. Really,
Sure.
that was it.
Sure.
I love this Colombian music. And in the beginning, we were all gringos. we didn't really know what we were doing. And I guess like I seem to I like the search, the detective, whatever, you know. So I was just trying to listen as well as I could. What are the ingredients of this music? There seems to be something like a conga drum. So my friend Lewis, who helped me get ordained, the guy I met years before, he was my first member of this band. That he's a great friend. He's a brother. He's been with me through all the twists and turns of my journey since the late 90s, from
Awesome.
Wicca to playing guitar again after having some major hand issues and stuff in the 90s, to then all of a sudden being the drummer of my band. And I called it Viva Vallenato, named after this Vallenato music of Colombia. So he was the drummer. And then we were going to play, our first gig was at the, it was like the Colombian Festival of Jersey City or something. And it was in 2013. And I had him, and I was like, oh my God, we need the thing on the recording, because we jammed beforehand, and he was playing, and it sounded like he was playing like a marching band rhythm. I'm like, this is not it, man. I'm playing the accordion, and he's like, like we're in a marching band. I'm like, this is not it. So luckily, this guy there, his name was Jamie or Jaime, and he, you know, the Latin people, when they're really into music, they'll come to a festival with the giant guida that that thing. That
Oh yes,
string.
sure, yeah.
He just shows up to the festival with a guida. He's not even a musician.
Yeah.
So I grabbed him. I was like, that's what we need. So I just grabbed him right before we went on stage. That was the first, which that video is on YouTube. I will send it to you if you want.
Okay,
Our very
cool.
first performance.
Oh wow.
And that just pulled together in seconds. But I
Wow.
felt like God, the ancestors, the music, Colombia, they were all helping us out with that. So
Awesome.
the people liked it. I barely pulled the gig off. Because the other thing, when you first start playing the accordion, you know, you got to squeeze. There's a lot of logistics to it. You
Yeah.
only push the buttons, but you got to figure out this whole thing. And then when you get on stage and you're nervous, suddenly the thing doesn't want to, like, you have to learn how to squeeze in front of people with
Yeah.
pressure on you. So
Yeah.
when I get up there and I've got the accordion, and I'm like, I played this in my bedroom 1,000 times, but then I'm up there and I'm like, why doesn't it want to go it? Like, it was, I barely pulled it off. I was like, what the hell? Because he put a little nervousness in there. You can't do it. Anyways, he was in it. Then we got a few other white people to join. That's all I could find. I didn't really have any Latin friends or anything. It was only one of them. This one guy, he got really pissed at me after this one open. We did a lot of open mics that year. That's how the band started.
Okay.
We weren't getting paying gigs. We were just doing it for fun. We wanted to get better. We knew that. We would go to open mics every week. That was our gig. And then I was like, oh, I hear not just the on the recordings. I hear like a. So I was like, that must be like a cowbell or one of these jam blocks, they call it. It goes. So I bought one at like Guitar Center or whatever. So at the open mic, I'll be like, who wants to play the guida? And then I would have the thing, and I would hand that to someone. And I was like, who wants to play the jam block? And I would hand that out. I was like, here's a drumstick. The rhythm is, bam, bam. Can you do that? And like some nights you wouldn't get anyone with any rhythm.
Right.
And sometimes nights we would luck out. This was the first year of this band, dude.
Wow.
Just out of loving it, just
Right.
loving the.
Right.
And then like a few months in, I think our first breakthrough night, which I have on YouTube somewhere also, because we started around August. So it was like December at Jig's Corner in Butler, New Jersey, was the first night we crossed a threshold into actually sounding like, okay, you know what I mean?
That's
Like,
awesome.
we
Yeah.
would have these breakthroughs every few months. We're like, oh, we glued together in a new way. Like, we were like really learning. But at one of those open mics, the bass player, who's like a heavy metal guy, but he happened to play with us, he was playing it was only 2 chords, and he played them in the wrong order. And I was like, I said something like between songs, I was like, we can't have that, man. We can't have that. It's got to be the C has to go where the C goes in the F. I guess I was passionate. I didn't mean it. And the dude almost flipped out. I thought we were going to go outside, and he was like, yeah, like he flipped.
Oh
So
my goodness.
so that's how I lost him. It was a scary night. I was like, I'm just going to stay inside the bar. And we're going to make sure his car leaves. Like, it was like that.
Wow, that's crazy.
That led to Craigslist. So another thing is, none of this music, as good as things have gone, none of this would exist without Craigslist and Facebook. We're in a special era where you can have connections with people.
Yeah,
much
that you would
cheaper.
never have. That
For
would have
free.
never happened. Right.
Right. So I lose this bass player. I put an ad on Craigslist. back in the 90s, it would have been an ad on the aquarium,
Right,
that
right.
aquarium
Sure. Yeah, I
that
remember the Aquarian. Yeah,
you got to pay for it. It
yeah.
has a very limited audience. I
Right.
found one guy on it who ended up becoming a lifelong friend in the 90s. A really cool guy, but I never found anyone else really. on
Right,
it.
right.
Anyway, Craigslist, I renewed this ad over and over. I didn't get anyone. I remember for months. And then I felt like I was going to just give up. And that's when this guy, Alberto, he responded. And he was originally Guatemalan. He's like, I play bass. And he's like, oh, we jam in Patterson at this place. We call it the Cave, the Cueva. Meet me there. So it was like a sketchy neighborhood of Patterson, although
Right.
it was near where my dad has always worked. So I knew the area. It just was, my dad wouldn't go to this street, I don't think. But I was like, anyway, I'm showing up. And it ended up, then we would jam there every week for months and months. And this guy was a way better bass player. He actually knew Latin music. He was Latin. Then he had a timbali player he always played with. His name was Cano, who was 70 years old and had like no teeth. He was the ugliest dude ever. But he had the flavor, the Latin flavor of the timbales.
Oh my
like
goodness.
off of record, like
Oh my
phenomenal.
goodness. Right,
And
right,
he was
right.
always cracking jokes. He was a real trickster kind of guy. Anyway, suddenly our band changed from that. Okay. And then we got some other guys who were Dominican guys, but they would do and they were into it. Like they were passionate about the
Right,
guitar.
right, right.
They didn't just fuck around with it. Like
right,
they like
right,
lived to play with it.
right.
So that was the next year. That was like 2014. And there's some YouTubes of that, and you can see we got way better. But
So what's the lineup now? Is the lineup?
but anyway, so it wasn't until 2015. Oh, in 2014 at one of those open mics, this young kid who seemed like he was like 15 or something was at the open mic. He wasn't even supposed to be at the bar. I don't think he was that young. I don't know. He's like 16 or something. And I was like, I usually handed out my cowbell.
Mhm.
And I have this other crazy friend. His name is Moses Johnson, who is a great musician. And he always makes his own instruments. So one week he lent me a cowbell tree. Like he buys all different cowbells at flea markets, and he attached them all together into a contraption. There was like 10 cowbells, all that sound different, and he would play it just like have fun. It was just for fun,
Wow,
So
wow.
I had that in my car at this open mic because I had just jammed with him. So I pulled this out. I was like, who would like to play this? And this woman, Jan, who used to run the open mic, another really cool person, I owe a lot to, because she's like, oh, you should get Sal to do it, this young kid. So Sal got on it and he played it like I had never, like fucking amazing, dude.
Really?
I was like, dude, we got to keep in touch. I mean, he's like a kid. He's like in high school. I'm like, I got to get your number, man. That guy is still with me. He's
Wow.
the best percussionist, one of the best I've ever
Worked
heard.
with,
He's
really?
a naturally talented dude.
Wow.
And he from day one, he was phenomenal. So now he plays the timbales, but it took until 2015 to meet our first Colombian musicians who are with us now. Like it takes years. It just does.
Yeah.
But we were having constantly a good time through the whole process. We didn't care. As long as we were playing and getting better, that was fine. So anyway, the reason I'm telling all this is because now I just wanted to shout these guys out, because we have Humberto Lozano, who's an awesome bass player. He's Colombian American. And then Sal Carollo is Sicilian American.
Oh, wow.
That's Sal. You
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
met him. He plays rubboard sometimes with the Zydeco. He's the young kid. And he's the percussionist with the Colombian. Whenever you see the guy who looks like, people say he's my son, but he's not. But they're always like, is that your son?
I don't
So-
think I have seen him. No, I don't
Oh.
think I have. Because the couple times I saw you where you said the washboard, right?
Yeah, the rubboard.
Yeah, it was another gentleman. I can't think of his name, but he's an older gentleman.
Aria, yeah.
Aria, right? I'm friends with him on Facebook. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so anyway, that's those guys. And then there's this guy, Hugo Lascaro Jr., who I met first through those guys that we jammed with in Patterson. It was a friend of a friend, because we got a request for our first party to play to get money.
Mm.
And they requested these romantic songs from Colombia that I'd never heard. And I was like, yeah, we can't do this. And someone said, oh, we know a singer who could sing those. His name's Hugo. So I went to his house in Clifton, jammed in his backyard, and he had a Colombian hand drum. And as soon as we started, me and him, he's playing the rhythm off the Colombian records that I had been searching for a few years, that my friend could never play because he didn't know. It's only a rhythm you would know if you're Colombian. And
Right.
it's only a drum you could get in Colombia.
Wow.
Called La Caja Vallenata. But when he played that, that was a missing ingredient that we had been missing for 3 whole years. 3 whole
Wow.
years.
Wow.
So, and then he sang well too. And then his dad was retired, and apparently he had been a singer in Colombia, but he was older now. His dad was like, I think 70 at that time. So he would watch us, and he was sometimes, as we practiced, then we would practice in Clifton. And his dad would give us his son pointers. Oh, you should sing like this. And he was like kind of his vocal coach. But as we slowly got better and better that summer, suddenly the dad, I guess one rehearsal, he said, do you know this song? And the dad started singing with us. And that was the ultimate game changer, because his dad is a phenomenal voice. It's like a flavor of old school.
Really?
Like,
Oh, wow. I can't wait to
don't
see
make
you guys.
singers like that.
Wow.
So he's still in the band. So the reason I want to shout him out now is because we played all last year through COVID. We actually, we stayed busy. We stayed safe. We played outdoor parties and stuff like that as much as we could. But the father just had to go to Colombia for some personal thing like a month ago. And he had to go, even though I don't know why they'd have him go in the middle of a pandemic. But it was like a personal thing for his retirement, that like, if you don't, because he had worked so many years there, like if you don't show up by this date in person, you will lose your retirement, which is
I see.
He was able to get one vaccine, but not both. And as soon as he got there, he got COVID. So this was like a month ago. He's okay now, but he's down there. So I just wanted to give him, I don't even know if this will make the final cut, but I just wanted to
If you wanted to, definitely.
Well, you know, that Hugo Sr., he's in our prayers. And then his son flew down to be with him because he was in a hospital a few weeks ago. He had pneumonia.
Wow.
And in the hospital in Colombia, they don't have enough beds. So he had a chair in the hospital for 2 or 3 days. His dad had a chair while he had pneumonia. He finally got a bed. He's out of the hospital. He's getting better and better little by little. So I think everything's gonna be fine. But those dudes are in Colombia right now, man.
Wow.
And I owe a lot to those guys for teaching me so much. Because like as we went forward, then the dad and the son would request, oh, Felipe, they call me Felipe, you should learn this song. How about you learn this song? And over the years, I've learned like 40 or 50 songs that they have requested, but they know what people want to hear. And that's why we play so many parties. They know, I don't know. I have no clue. So they've educated me. I feel like I've had an independent study at college, like a graduate degree in Colombian music.
That's awesome.
Just from learning from them, you know, so.
Wow.
And so our heart, you know, our prayers are with them that they come back soon and everything is okay again, because it's a weird time. You know, so we're still playing these gigs. We have some special guests playing with us who are also really talented. For these Colombian shows coming up, but I mean, we're waiting for them to come back because you know we love them. So,
well, now's probably as good a time as any to wrap up. Why don't you tell us again? Tell us when the next shows are going to be. When are you playing? Where? Go ahead. You do that, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, let me look up the address for Benji's Taqueria here. Okay, so on Saturday, May 15th, we're playing at 3 p.m. outside Benji's Taqueria. It's a Mexican restaurant with really good food, and they're at 14 Main Street in West Orange, New Jersey. So that's 3 p.m. outside there, May 15th. And then at 5 p.m., we're playing outside a place called La Rosa Mexicana, which that's on Essex Street in Orange, New Jersey. And these are both for an awesome festival called Dancing in the Streets, an awesome festival basically to benefit local businesses who have been pretty devastated by the lockdown and the past year of the pandemic. So just trying to draw people to come out to restaurants and just feel normal again, you know? So there's a lot of groups playing all through the town from the 14th to the 16th, sponsored by the University of Orange, which is an amazing organization that gives free music lessons, free music instrument loans to local kids. They do a lot in the community. And so we're really just thrilled to be involved with them on this festival.
Cool. So hopefully we get out there, hopefully people start enjoying themselves again. I know it's still a little bit of a scary time. I've been going out the whole time. I'm not telling anyone else what to do, but it's time to start enjoying ourselves a little bit. We still got to practice social distancing, of course, and all that other stuff. But I'm excited to see a lot of my friends perform, especially you and Michaela and all our other friends.
Yeah,
So
and then let me just add, so then Sunday, the 16th of May, if you live near Bernardsville, Basking Ridge area, we're outside the Bernards High School at 3
Okay.
p.m. in the parking lot. That's
Awesome.
free. And the 23rd of May, it's a Sunday, 5 p.m. We're outside Englewood Public Library for the third or fourth year in the row. And that's a really cool gig because I feel like my ancestors in the cemetery down the street can hear me. Like I'm playing really loud.
Yeah, that's
accordion.
cool.
Tons of my relatives, or the Pasantinos, the Lombardis, like all my Italian relatives are buried on that
Okay.
street
I'm
about
sure
a mile
sure
away.
they do hear you.
I
That's
make sure
awesome.
they hear me. And I
Yeah.
feel like they're part of the reason, like, because my family has roots in Englewood. So I'm just so thrilled that I'm playing Englewood every
Yeah.
year and they can hear it,
Yeah, that's great. And is Rosa Tatuata playing again anytime soon?
We're playing a cool wedding in Little Italy at the end of the month. And
Okay.
we're kind of seeing how the summer goes, but possibly a date here or there in the summer. And I'm sure we'll do like a live Facebook thing or something again. And we did a bunch of those last year that were
Cool.
awesome. And people were
Yeah.
watching us in Sicily and all over the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully, we're hoping to go in September. We'll see how everything goes to Sicily, that is. And I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, man. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for spending some time with me. And I really enjoyed talking to you, man. It was great stories, man. Love it.
Thanks for listening. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.